What's up, ladies and gents, and welcome to the Fino Flash podcast featuring your homies. Obviously, it's me, Daddy Fino, Pay Bay, and of course, I'm here with the one and only JT Flash. Say what's up to the people, JT.
What's up?
JT, man, I gotta tell you something, man. Once again, I am pissed off. I don't know why I always start our episodes pissed off, but something always pisses me off. And I got a lot of feedback from our last episode, our debate episode, I think our epic debate episode about the career of Mark Sanchez. And I didn't like the feedback I received. Definitely from this one guy on Instagram. He tried to clown me, right? I shut him down though. I shut him down quick. He had nothing to say. I still haven't heard of him I haven't heard from him in about 3 days.
Yeah. I mean, it is. I don't know how to respond to that because, I tried to warn you. I tried to warn you this would happen if we did this episode. You didn't believe me. But it was a good episode. You hung in there as long as you could. So.
I mean, I still won. I'm just telling you, I didn't like some of the feedback. That's all.
Listen.
I changed minds out there.
I don't think you did. I don't think anything you just said was true, but that's okay. That's not what this episode's about.
I know it's not. I know. I'm not trying to go back and talk about your defeat last week, but I was just upset, man. And I had to fend it off a little bit. Shout out to Eric. He did a great job as a moderator last week. Great job. I don't know if you could do better than that. But let's talk about what today is, because we started it last week. We started breaking down divisions of the NFL, from our opinions from the worst to the best. We started with the NFC West. I'm sorry, NFC West, and then we went to the AFC East. Now we're going to jump into the next two on our list. We got the NFC South, and we got the AFC South. I think we were both in agreement. We rarely agree, but we agree the AFC South is actually the worst of the two, so we're going to start with them. How about you give your opinions on the AFC South this year, JT?
Well, I think this division each year is either, they're getting better. 10 years ago, I think you could say this division was trash. It was the Colts division. The other teams had terrible records. If you had asked me 10 years ago, I would have said this was the worst division in football. They're getting better. The Texans have improved. You have Deshaun Watson now at quarterback, who, had an exciting rookie campaign when he came on. Then he got hurt, and he still played pretty well last year. On that team. On the other side, you got the face of the defense and J.J. Watt. Don't forget about DeAndre Hopkins on the offensive side. The Colts. The Colts are, who they are. They got Andrew Luck. I think he played all 16 games last year, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody have to remind me of that. I can't remember. I know he's played through injuries throughout his career. Then you got the Jaguars, who are kind of revamped. They traded for Nick Foles in the offseason, which I think was a smart move. He's obviously a better quarterback than Blake Bortles. And then you go to the Tennessee Titans, who I think surprised a lot of people last year. Marcus Mariota played okay last year. I won't say he played well, like some people. I think at times he did play really well. I would say he kind of had an inconsistent seasons with a lot of up and downs. But just off the top of my head here, if I'm looking at it, I'm actually going to say the Houston Texans win this division next year. Wow. I like the Houston Texans. I like the I think that they're a very good formidable team all the way around the football. But when I say they win the division, I think they're going to be a 10-6 team with a division win.
Wow. I'm a little shocked by that. Not going to lie to you.
Yeah. And then I'm going to take the Indianapolis Colts in second place. I'm going to say they're 9-7. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars will go 8-8. And I think the Tennessee Titans will go 7-9. I think it's going to be a tight division, but after reading it and looking at the schedules, that's the prediction I've come up with.
So not bad. I do agree with you on this. I think it is going to be a tight division. You got I definitely see about two, maybe three teams. Two for sure. A third team that could possibly make playoffs. You may see. It's possible that you could see three teams from this division make playoffs. I think it definitely is, but I like a lot of moves that each team made. You mentioned Nick Foles to the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's definitely an upgrade over Bortles. So that team is just going to improve. They had a really down year last year, which shocked a lot of people. Definitely after they've been dominant the last couple of years. Great defense and everything. They got Leonard Fournette. He's going to just, if he stays healthy, he's going to kill it. So they're definitely going to improve. But I have a different division winner. I have the Colts winning this division. Last year they were 10-6. They're returning 21 of their 22 starters, so they're going to have that, basically their glue of the team is I think it's just going to grow. They played well together last year. Kind of shocked a lot of people in a way. We always thought the Colts are a good team, but I thought they played really well, made the playoffs. But I actually have them going 12-4 this year. Andrew Luck is going to just take that next step to possibly, I think the best quarterback in the league, I think is wide open more this year. And I think he can take that step to become it. Not saying he will, but, that's a great possibility. So like I said, I got Colts going 12-4. I got the Texans and I got the Jaguars battling for second, and they end up in a tie. So I'm gonna say 9-7 for both of those teams. Love the Texans. Deshaun Watson's one of my favorites to watch. You mentioned it before. Great rookie season last year, coming back from injury. Started slow, but finished off pretty strong. I think he's just going to improve. In fact, I saw on Matthew Berry's fantasy football when he was ranking quarterbacks, he actually had Deshaun Watson number 2. That kind of shocked me, but at the same time, when I thought about it, it's actually quite possible. Definitely with his running ability, his passing. But we all know about his passing skills. From his days in Clemson, national title, and all that. What he did his rookie season. Now that he's back from injury, 100%. I could see him taking that leap forward to enter that, possible elite status. To great quarterback to elite, he could definitely jump into that mix. And then I have Tennessee Titans, got them 6-10. Mariota had a up and down season. I like Mariota. Definitely coming out of college, I thought he was a quarterback that can play the spread really well. Did it really great in Oregon. They really haven't done that in Tennessee. But I love their defense. I think their defense is going to carry them for a lot. And they'll get some wins off of that. I got them 6-10. So 12-4 for the Colts, 9-7 for the Jaguars and Houston Texans, and 6-10 for the Titans. This should be a really close division. Let me ask you this: who do you think is is Andrew Luck the best quarterback in this division? Or you have Deshaun Watson close? Like, what do you think about the quarterbacks specifically in this division?
It's I like Andrew Luck, and I think he's a good quarterback. But unfortunately, he's been hurt a lot of his career. So for me to just say he's the best quarterback is very difficult for me, to just come out and say. I do think if he was healthy, he would definitely be the best his whole career. I think you could say it with no brainer. But I like Deshaun Watson also. And I know he's got hurt. It's hard for me to say. I'm going to say yes, he is the best quarterback in this division based off, I've seen more of him than Deshaun Watson. And I do like his play style. I think he's a pretty smart quarterback. I'm not saying Deshaun Watson isn't. But Deshaun Watson also gives you a little bit different dynamic to a football team. In terms of, his athleticism and speed. But, yeah, I'm going to say Andrew Luck is the best quarterback. But I think Deshaun Watson – I don't think you could go wrong with either one. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, I think they're both definitely – they're obviously two franchise quarterbacks that I think any team in the league would take for sure. Andrew Luck is probably I will put him maybe in my top 5. I will put him in my top 5 quarterbacks in the league. Definitely after the year he had last year. Him healthy is a great sight to see. I've always loved Andrew Luck. Deshaun Watson, he's probably in the bottom 10 of the NFL. No, I'm sorry. Of the top 10, he's in the bottom part of the top 10. But I could definitely see him take that leap forward to join Andrew Luck in the top 5. Definitely when you got all these, older quarterbacks, you got the Breeze, the Brady, the Ben Roethlisbergers, they're getting up in age. There's a chance that they can drop a little bit. I don't expect it. But definitely after last year, they showed great signs that they're just going to continue being great. But you just never know. Father Time is undefeated, so that they could take a hit. And so there is a chance that both quarterbacks can, if they're not already in your top 5 or in your top 10 or whatever, they could definitely make that leap forward to join them. What about defenses? Do you have any concerns about any of the defenses in this division?
Yeah. Well, I have concerns about a particular player. Two, but I'll get started with the main one. Let's start with the Jacksonville Jaguars and Jalen Ramsey. Everyone knows he liked to talk trash at the beginning of the season last year. You could say he got embarrassed a few times this season. I'm starting to. I know he's a good. I know he's a good player. Don't get me wrong, but I'm starting to wonder if he was a little hyped up too much coming into last season. That's where I start, and then I'm going to go to the Houston Texans and talk about J.J. Watt. We all know about his career and his history with injury. I'm hoping he can stay healthy. If he does, I really like the Houston Texans defense. And a side note to talk about is I like the Titans defense. They're kind of a dark horse defense, so. I like the way they played last year, critical situations. But those are my main concerns, and they're actually just individuals on teams because I think J.J. Watt and Jalen Ramsey are difference makers on a defense. They can turn their defenses into good defenses just by their play. What about you?
Well, for me, I have a concern about the Colts defense. I know their offense is going to be prolific. You got Andrew Luck, you got T.Y., who's I feel like T.Y. sometimes is underrated. So I know their offense is going to be great. My concern is going to be their defense, and is their defense going to be able to keep up with the offense and make the plays that's necessary to get these wins? Definitely to make what my prediction of 12-4 correct. So it's gonna be tough for them. They don't really have. I don't think they have like a really star on their defense. They just have a lot of good players. Um, so they don't have a J.J. Watt, Jalen Ramsey like you mentioned. So because of that, they're just gonna have to play consistently well as a group, and not just depend on that playmaker, that star. So that's a big concern for me. Jalen Ramsey, I'm not too concerned about, and the Jaguars. I think they realized last year that they underachieved, and I think they're gonna step up. Jalen Ramsey, he talked a lot of shit. He badmouthed a lot of quarterbacks and all this stuff, and I think they made him pay for it. He didn't have a terrible season or anything. He still played really good, but at the end of the day, he wasn't the elite cornerback last year that he was the previous year. And, I think he promised that he's going to stay quiet this year. So that might actually just be a benefit. Just be kind of like a silent assassin at the end of the day. Yeah, so I love that. J.J. Watt, and the Texans, they lost the Honey Badger. He was only there for a year, but I think that could be a huge loss. Honey Badger, I really love him. I loved him out of college, and he's definitely, if not the best safety in the league, he's definitely in the top three for sure. So that's going to be a huge loss. They did go 11-5 last year. And if J.J. Watt stays healthy, which, for the last couple of years, it just doesn't seem to be the case. He's still, he could be obviously a big force right there in the, whether they put him, at the edge or they put him in the middle, D tackle for a little bit, just wherever he is, he's just a dominant force. He's a Hall of Famer for sure. And, I think they'll keep it together. I think hopefully he'll stay healthy. I think he will, though, for the most part. I'm sure he has to be motivated off of last season, and he wants to prove a point. That D-line is just killer for the Texans. I still love their D-line, still one of the best in the league. I just – there's really not much more you can say. I already mentioned the Tennessee Titans defense, played really well last year, carried them for most of the season. I think they'll, I think I could see them definitely continuing what they did last year. Just hope that the offense can keep up with it. So let's see. We talked their defenses in this division. We talked quarterbacks. Let's just talk about overall offenses. Do you see Nick Foles, for example, being a huge difference maker for the Jaguars? What are your opinions about the offenses in this division?
Well, I think Nick Foles is a little underrated. I think he's better than a lot of people give him credit for.
You said underrated or overrated? I'm sorry.
Underrated.
All right.
I like Nick Foles, and I wanted to say, I don't have the Jaguars win a lot of games. I think some of the games on their schedule are really tough. It's his first year there. I'm giving him kind of a year to adapt. So I'm not expecting a lot from Nick Foles, but I am expecting to see a more explosive offense from the Jaguars in terms of the passing game. I think we both can agree that, since the Jaguars have become relevant again as a team, that Blake Bortles has definitely been their Achilles heel. But I do expect a lot from him. You mentioned already they have a great running game with Leonard Fournette as long as he stays healthy. Their receivers are a little questionable. They don't have, the best receivers in the league, but they still have good receivers. So we'll have to see. They might have to end up, like I said, I don't make them playoffs or anything, but maybe next season they can add some additions. on the offensive end because I think their defense, when they play up to a certain level, is actually – I would actually say they're the best defense in this division. And I know that's kind of crazy because I think the Texans also have a good defense. But when this defense can play at the level that we've used to them seeing them play at, they're the best, which will help Nick Foles also.
I also have questions about their offense. Marquise Lee, he missed a lot of time last year. He got hurt. And he was the year before he proved to be, a really good wide receiver. And with him coming back, that's definitely going to help Nick Foles. I don't think Nick Foles is underrated at all. I think he's rated pretty fairly well. In fact, I mean, you can argue he might be overrated. I think he had the great run in Philly, but at the end of the day, I just don't see him being a consistent, just a consistent quarterback that's good enough to really just, lead a team. I know he did it in Philly with the last couple of games, and then they were big moments. He had, two of the biggest games in playoff history, AFC Championship game and then the Super Bowl. I can't shit on him for that. His achievement is what it is. But at the same time, I don't know if he's that quarterback for a team. He might be good for a couple games, but then I just see that his I don't know how to explain it. I just feel like he's really inconsistent for me, at least. I'm just not a fan of Nick Foles. For me, he's probably, if I rank the top quarterbacks in the league, he's probably, I will put him in like maybe the 12 to like 18 range for me at least. And I'm more leaning towards like the bottom half of that. Maybe like 15, 16 or something like that. And their receivers, I mean, I like D.D. Westbrook also for him. He's a nice – to me, he's definitely a true number two. He had a lot of good games last year. Definitely when he had to be the number one. They also have Keelan Cole, who I also like too. But I think it's just going to be an offense that's going to be basically based off what Leonard Fournette does. They're going to have to probably give him 250 to 300 touches for this season. Got to give him at least 25 touches a game. We're close to it. He's going to have to be that dominant running back that coming out of college we all, well, not we all, but a lot of experts expected him to be. And that's just I don't really see it for them. And then just going to Houston's offense, we already mentioned Deshaun Watson. We mentioned their offensive weapons that they're really great. Obviously you got DeAndre Hopkins, who's their number one, who's arguably the best receiver in the game. And on the other side, you got injury issues. It's just going to be tough overall for them. They don't really have a great running back. But we'll see what it is. It's just my concern about Houston's offense is going to really be their offensive line. They allowed the most sacks last year. And we got to hope that they can hold up. Definitely we want Deshaun Watson to stay healthy. But that, do you have any questions about Colts offense?
The Colts offense, if Andrew Luck stays healthy, I have no real concerns with the Colts offense. Their offensive line has been, called out a little bit over the last few years. I think it's gotten a little bit better.
They make great pickups.
Yeah. But they have T.Y. Hilton who's really good. If Andrew Luck's behind under center, I think they'll be just fine.
Hey, that's all that matters. We got to also just give a shout out to Marlon Mack. He's going to be healthy coming into the season as their number one running back. And I see Marlon Mack definitely being. I definitely see Marlon Mack definitely being. I think he's going to be a sleeper in fantasy. I can tell you that right now. So look out for Marlon Mack.
Maybe get him at that flex pick,
Hey, possibly. I did a fantasy mock draft the other day, and he was actually picked in the second round. So, never know. Marlon Mack is going to definitely be a sleeper this year. I don't think a lot of people are looking at him because they look at the Colts as a passing offense. They forget they got some run. So,
well, his question is, can he stay healthy? And he's not. I wouldn't call Marlon Mack the most durable running back in the league.
that is true. That is true. I can't argue that. All right. So, what was your final predictions again? So we can.
I got the Houston Texans winning this division at 10-6. I got the Indianapolis Colts coming in second place at 9-7. I have the Jacksonville Jaguars going 8-8, and I have the Tennessee Titans going 6-10.
All right. And then for mine, I got Colts going 12-4, Jaguars and the Texans finishing in 9-7. And then I have the Titans at 6-10 also. So that is our review of the AFC South. Let's move on to the next division on our list today, the NFC South. It is a division with the teams of the Panthers, Carolina Panthers, the New Orleans Saints. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Atlanta Falcons. JT, what you think about this division?
It was. I mean, I know we agreed, but it was hard for me to agree that this was one of the worst divisions because, in the last 5 to 6 years, well, yeah, we'll say the last several years, 3 of these teams, the Saints should have been in the Super Bowl last year. That was some controversy, but, the Falcons have made the Super Bowl in this time span. So the Panthers, it's a very competitive division most of the time. You're barring injury. I think I'm going to go with the Saints again to be the winners. I think, like I said, that controversial no call in the NFC Championship game, which the refs, I'd be checking their vision to going to the eye doctor because I don't know how they didn't call that. But Drew Brees played awesome last year. They had the running back tandem last year, and their wide receivers played well. I think they're going to play with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, knowing that they kind of got screwed out of a Super Bowl appearance. I think they're going to win this division. The Atlanta Falcons, everyone knows who they are. Julio Jones, sorry, the name's on my tongue. Everybody knows what he can do when healthy. And I think, you mentioned, DeAndre Hopkins being the best wide receiver in the league. I actually think inside the 20-yard line, Julio Jones, not the red zone, but in between both 20s, Julio Jones is definitely, I think he's the best receiver in football. Not saying that he isn't good in the red zone. They just they have a hard time getting him the ball there.
Mm-hmm.
I like the Atlanta Falcons. I like their defense. And then, we're moving on to the Carolina Panthers. It's all going to depend on if Cam Newton's healthy. He was injured at the end of the season last year, the shoulder. I believe he had surgery this offseason. We'll have to see if he comes back. I've actually have a big question marks on this team. I don't think that they're going to finish last in the division because I think the Buccaneers have a long way to go before they can sneak third in for the division. But you know, the Panthers are who they are. You know, they like to play old school football. You know, run the football and play defense. They have a good defense. Or they have the potential to be a good defense, you know, when they're not on the field the whole game because their offense can't produce a lot. You know, I think people not necessarily underestimate what Cam Newton can do, but Cam Newton, before he got hurt, was actually playing really well last year. He's played capable of an MVP level before. So, you know, I have question marks about this team, and I kind of really just need to see how they play before I can make, you know, in the preseason, before I can really give my thoughts on it. Because like I said, it depends on whether Cam Newton's healthy. And then if I go to the Buccaneers, you know, I've already mentioned it. I think that they're easily the worst team in this division.
Football.
Yeah, maybe. The Cardinals might beat them out for that. But, yeah. I mean, I got the Saints winning this division at 12-4. I actually have the Falcons coming in second at 10-6. The Panthers, I'm going to give a 8-8 record, and the Bucks, I'm going to say that they're a 4-12 team. Like you said, with the AFC South, I think this division has potential to have multiple playoff bursts. So, with that, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, I gotta say, I basically, with your order, I like your order. My records are a little bit different, but I definitely like your order. I think the Saints are gonna take this division pretty easily. I got them going 13-3. You know, Drew Brees has not shown any downfalls so far, no downgrades. He's just been as great as he's always been. You know, Hall of Fame quarterback, having MVP worthy seasons at late in his career. I mean, I could see that definitely happening again. I actually could see him being MVP next year. It's not my prediction. I don't know what it'll be yet, but Drew Brees definitely is in that conversation for it. You know, when you got Michael Thomas, one of the top 5 receivers in the game, on the outside with Ted Ginn Jr., speedy receiver. You know, you already got Alvin Kamara. You know, they're going to be definitely a huge force on the offensive side of the football. You know, they added Jared Cook, tight end from Oakland Raiders, who's had really impressive stats to me, even playing in Oakland. You know, a lot of games where he just goes off. You know, Jared Cook is one of those tight ends that, you know, when he has a great game, it's great. And then the other games, he's just going to be, you know, you wonder where he is. But he's at any time he can go off. And I think that's just going to be a great addition to this offense. I got them, like I said, I got them going 13-3 this year. I think they have enough pieces. They can get back to the NFC Championship game and possibly a Super Bowl. They should have been in last year, but like you said, we got to hand out some eye doctor tests or something. I don't know what we need to do for the NFL to improve that, but we'll see. I'm going to go with the Falcons next. The Falcons, you know, I got to say, I have a lot of questions about Matt Ryan. I know they made the Super Bowl and they lost after blowing a 28-3 lead. I get it. But, you know, there's still a lot of questions for me. I still don't like their running game. I mean, I know they have good, you know, they got good pieces. Devontae Freeman is not a bad running back at all. I'm not saying that at all. But he's not, to me, Devontae Freeman is, he's not, to me, he's just not a huge difference maker. But at the end of the day, they do have two really good wide receivers. You mentioned Julio Jones, who you said he's the best wide receiver in the league to you. He's a top 5 for me. Then you got Calvin Ridley, who came out of, basically, I wouldn't say he came out of nowhere last year, because everyone, I think everyone knew he had the talent to be this good. It just came together for a great season. They still got Mohamed Sanu, who fell off a little last year based off, mostly because Calvin Ridley exploded, but he's still a good receiver. So I love their receivers. I can't complain about that. Their defense is going to be good. Going to definitely be solid. I like this team. I'm gonna get them a 9-7 record. Then you got the Panthers. The Panthers, I think, is the team that it could be. They probably are the team with the most questions. You mentioned Cam Newton. Cam Newton, if he's healthy, they can be really, really good. But if he turns, and returns with the season he had last year, this team is going to fall. Love Christian McCaffrey at running back. Can't really complain about Christian McCaffrey at all. Can catch it from the backfield, or can run it. He's bulked up. He's going to be definitely a top 5 running back in the league this year. You're going to have questions about Greg Olsen at tight end. He came off of an injury last year. He did return late in the season, but he's getting up in age, and it's going to. If he's not healthy, that's Cam Newton's basically number 1 target, like favorite target, I should say. So that connection is not there. It's going to be hard for this team to really score some points. I don't like their receivers. I know just overall, their receivers is just not that good. They don't really have a number 1. Maybe their rookie will come, not the rookie, but his second-year wide receiver will step up and become that number 1. But at the end of the day, I just don't see enough from this team. I'm leaning towards a 7-9 record, 6-10. I'll say 7-9 only because the Bucs are in the division. That's 2 wins easily, so they can get 5 from another teams. Like their defense. You're getting Bruce Irvin. You got Gerald McCoy also. If they look like their old selves, you're going to have a great defense. So I'm going to get them 7-9. And then the Bucs. The Bucs are terrible. I have them as the worst team in not only this division, but in the NFL. A lot of questions about Jameis Winston. I don't know if he's going to even play the whole year, with his inconsistent level. And the bad part about it is that, they're going to put, Blaine Gabbert, who's his backup, into the game? I mean, that's probably even way worse. So I don't see what they're going to do. I do like their receivers, though, with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and their tight end O.J. Howard is good. But other than that, they have nothing. Their defense is okay, but they got a lot of questions. I know they have Dominic Sue, they got Jason Pierre-Paul, but I'm not a fan of their defense. At best, I'm going to have them 3-13. To me, they didn't really improve. They just, if anything, they lost when they lost to Sean Jackson. So it's, there's not really much more you can say about this team. What do you think? Let's just do what we did about the AFC South. What do you think about their quarterbacks in this division? Or how do you rank them? All that good stuff.
I think I would rank them, in the order we both just put them in. I think Drew Brees is the best quarterback. And then it's Matt Ryan, then it's Cam Newton, and then it's, whoever the Bucs decided to put out there at the end of the day. I think, I can't believe that the Buccaneers passing game is this. They have had talent at the wide receiver position. I just kind of it kind of makes you wonder what Cam Newton would do if he had the Buccaneers wide receivers, his career.
Honestly, if he did, I can answer that for you. I'll be honest, and I hate Carolina Panthers. I hate them. I live in North Carolina, so I hear about the Panthers all the damn time. If he had, Mike Evans, if he did have Chris Godwin, Deshaun Jackson when he was there, they would win the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
They would easily win the Super Bowl. They would be the best team in the league, and I wouldn't say by far, but definitely if Cam Newton's playing Cam Newton MVP, season-like numbers, yeah, they're the best team. They would be the best team.
Yeah. But and I wouldn't say Matt Ryan is way better than Cam Newton. Just off consistency. Matt Ryan, he's been questioned throughout his career if he could ever get it done, but he's played at a pretty consistent level his whole career of good quarterback play. I don't think anybody can dispute that. But
yeah, no, I mean I can't disagree with that. You're right. I would take Cam Newton above Matt Ryan though. A healthy Cam Newton is just a dangerous force. With his running ability, I mean, the man can get 1,000 yards easily. He's just such a huge quarterback. It's hard to bring him down, and he's not scared to take that hit, which is actually a big concern about Cam. He needs to stop taking those hits. But the fact that he doesn't, that just gives him extra yards, and that puts him above Matt Ryan. I mentioned it before. Matt Ryan to me is just not. I don't know. He is consistent, but at the same time, it's like he's never shown, for me at least, that the status of where he should be. I feel like he has the talent to be a top 5 quarterback, but he's never reached that. He's always on my list. Every year, I've always ranked him in like the bottom of the top 10, always. And that shouldn't be the case, but he's never really proved it to me. Even the year they made it to the Super Bowl, I didn't like Matt Ryan that year. I'm sorry. I know I might be, in the minority in that, but I wasn't. They didn't even trust him with a 28-3 lead to take over. He didn't have the. I don't feel like he had the status enough to tell the coach, no, we ain't throwing this football. We running it. It's my offense. Shut up. Let me take over. Let's win this Super Bowl. They didn't trust him, I feel like. So, yeah, I don't know. I have big questions about Matt Ryan every year, and it's just going to continue until he retires, honestly.
Well, to be honest, it's hard. I really don't know on who I'd take on. I mean, I like Cam Newton. Like you said, his versatility makes him dangerous. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. I just went up with Matt Ryan because like I said, the consistency. I know what level of play I'm going to get out of Matt Ryan. Let me put it that way. I know what I'm getting out of Matt Ryan season in, season out. And I'm not saying Cam's produced terrible or anything. I just, his injury with his shoulder is why this next season I'm putting Matt Ryan. That's why I'm ranking Matt Ryan above him.
And is this sad that I'm putting the backup quarterback, Will Grier, of the Carolina Panthers above Jameis Winston? Like he's 4th on my list. Like I don't care for Jameis Winston at all. I know he has talent, but his head is never in the game. And I love Will Grier. Will Grier has, there's a huge chance this is a make or break season for Cam Newton, and the fact that Will Grier may take over. It's like they're pushing Cam out in a way.
Well, I think there's some questionable, or I wouldn't say questionable. Is Cam a locker room guy, or is he a selfish, all about himself player? That question has been asked, and I don't know if I can answer that because, I see teammate like qualities out of Cam, but then I see him sitting on the sideline, the next series with the towel over his head, and him not talking to anybody. So it's hard to judge. It's hard to judge.
Well, look, I get that. I think that's honestly, I think that's being blown out of proportion. Cam Newton is loved by his teammates. No teammate has ever came out and ever badmouthed Cam Newton. All I ever see is them loving him, and maybe that's just them, not trying to create a scene or anything or cause locker room rifts or anything like that. But I truly believe that he is loved in that locker room. Yes, he had a towel over his head, and he has those moments when, he left the press conference after the Super Bowl. I get all that. Those were maybe those were low points, I guess, in your career. But at the same time, that shouldn't be. To me, that shouldn't mean that you could be badmouthed as a leader. He has proven each year that he's the leader of this team. This team goes as far as he takes them, and they follow him. They love him. You just look at. I saw a video the other day. It was him and Greg Olsen. They were FaceTiming. The cornerback that was on their team. He talked all that crap. He's in Washington now. What's his name?
Norman.
Yeah. Norman. They were talking to Norman. What is it Chris Norman?
Josh Norman.
Josh Norman. Sorry. Yeah. For some reason, his name just. Anyway, they were talking to Josh Norman on FaceTime, and they were just joking and, laughing and stuff like that. But you could just see that even as a defender, Josh Norman was just having a great time with Cam Newton. He saw his leadership. They were joking about, Cam don't want to see Josh Norman in the open field. You better slide, stuff like that, joking like that. And Cam was like, yo, oh, no, you better run and slide. It's like, I'm going through you. It's stuff like that. That just tells me that he's a loved quarterback in that locker room. All the stuff he does for the community in the Charlotte area, I think the team embraces that. And, I think we're both in agreement. If he is healthy, this team is actually going to be better than what we predict. If he's a fully healthy, 100%, I have them going 7-9. I would jump that probably to 9-7, 10-6. Like, that's how good Cam Newton is. And they could definitely make a run in the playoffs. This has been a really competitive division. You can argue it's probably been the most competitive division in the last, 5 years maybe. You never know who's going to come out from this division on top. It's always been a 3-team race because no one cares about the Bucs. So I could see that still being continued this year, being really competitive games and stuff like that. It's just that the Saints are just that much better. But don't be shocked that the Saints lost to these teams. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's talk about defenses real quick. What about defenses?
I really do like the Panthers defense. Since we're still talking about just got to talk about the Panthers. If Gerald McCoy and Jason Pierre-Paul can be anything remotely close to what they were, this defense is scary. The Saints defense played well last year. I'd say they definitely I think they have the second best defense, followed by Atlanta's defense and then the Bucs defense. There's not a whole lot for me to say here on the Panthers defense. I mean, Luke Kuechly, best linebacker, middle linebacker in the league. I already mentioned McCoy and Pierre-Paul. Their cornerbacks and defensive backs played decent last year. I think they're only going to improve. And then, the Saints roster, they have good players, and they played well last year. So, what do you think? Who has the best defense in this division?
For me, it's still the Saints, with the Panthers as a close second. Saints defense, I just always love their defense. It's not a defense that's going to be dominant where it's going to take over, it's going to take over a game or anything like that, but they've always just been a steady defense. You know what you're going to get with them every year, every game. I just like their defense. Panthers defense, like you mentioned, Luke Kuechly, best middle linebacker in the game. He's going to lead that defense to be really good. But they still have very questions on the cornerbacks, and their safety play. For me, they just have some question marks there. It's gonna, hopefully they can keep up with the front seven, but we'll see what they can do. Not mentioning Bucks, and the Falcons are gonna have, their solid defense. I mentioned that when I was, talking about them. They're gonna. Falcons defense has always been, I would say, from decent to really good over the last couple of years, ever since their Super Bowl run. So I could just definitely see them being they're going to be one of those where they're going to bend, but they won't break. If that makes sense for you. So definitely like the Saints, and that they don't go 13-3 with a bad defense. I'm sorry. Definitely not in this division. So Saints, for me, definitely have the best defense in this division. All right, so let's do a recap of your predictions records.
All right. So I got the New Orleans Saints winning this division at 12-4. I have the Atlanta Falcons coming in second at 10-6. I have the Carolina Panthers coming in at 8-8, and the Bucks coming in last at the 4-12 record.
All right, and then I have the Saints 13-3. I got Falcons 9-7, Panthers 7-9, and the Bucks 3-13. That's the worst team in football. Yes, once again, because I just hate the Bucks. I don't know why I have this grudge against the Bucks, but I just love football, and I don't think they play it right. So, hey. All right. So there you go. That is our review of the AFC South and the NFC South. Next week, we're going to stay to one division for next week's episode. We won't reveal who that is yet. You just have to tune in and see. I think it's going to be, I would say this, though. I'll give you guys a little hint. It's going to be close to home for one of our hosts. Let's just say that. And I think this episode is going to be, I think it's going to be a lot of fireworks in this episode. And it's not even going to be because of me. I won't even be really saying anything this episode coming up. I can promise you that. I won't be saying much. I'm going to leave JT to talk about this, because if he doesn't have a lot to say, I'll be shocked.
Oh, I have a lot to say.
Let's just say we got some friendly competition next week for you, JT.
Oh, yeah, I know about that.
Yeah, so we may or may not have somebody, to argue with you, because like I said, I'm taking a back seat. I'm gonna just let it. I'm just gonna listen. I'm gonna laugh. If someone says something stupid, though, I'm gonna have to join in and shut that down real quick. But other than that, we'll see. We'll see. JT, what you got coming out next? You got anything for the people?
Well, I'll be honest. The Manny Pacquiao fight, Keith Thurman fight, I still have a review video coming out. I was on call this weekend. I got called in, so I couldn't watch it live. So I have it recorded. I'm going to watch it probably this evening. I know who won already, because it was hard to where I work not to hear it.
Yeah.
So I still will review that. That's coming out. And then I kind of want to do something it is sports related. I wouldn't really call it sports, but man, I know you've heard about it. Some of these Madden ratings are kind of ridiculous. I think they need to be reviewed, called out. Some of these players I think are rated just a little too high.
Okay.
So, I don't know if we'll squeeze that topic in on the podcast, or if I'll have to do a solo review. But I'm not happy about some of these Madden ratings I'm seeing.
Is it about your team or just about other people in general?
It's about a few people in general, and I'll just kind of give one little example real quick before we sign off. I know Pat Mahomes had a great season. I know that, but he shouldn't be rated higher than Tom Brady. I'll tell you that much. But
it's funny. Real quick, it's funny that you mentioned Tom Brady. Do you know that Tom Brady? I did a mock NFL draft, fantasy draft last night. You know, Tom Brady got picked in 15.
No, 15.
Round 15, Tom Brady was picked. And on Matthew Berry's rankings, quarterback rankings, he has Tom Brady as the 21st quarterback.
That's interesting.
That's very interesting. I'll tell you this right now. If I get Tom Brady in round 15, I'm winning fantasy football.
If you get Tom Brady past round what?
If I get him in round 12, I'm winning fantasy football. I'll tell you that right now. It's not even like I'll be undefeated.
Yeah,
I tell you right now.
But
but
it is what it is. But maybe we can do a segment in our show, and if we don't, I'll definitely put out
I'm actually interested in that. I think we should do that for the next episode. We'll talk Madden next episode. And we'll actually, you know what? We will. And we got some news coming for our fans too. That includes Madden. So you know what? Yeah, let's do that next episode. We're gonna talk Madden.
All right.
Well, yeah, let's definitely do that. So, like I said, guys, next week, you can listen to our next podcast where we'll talk about a next division on our rankings. So tune into that. You're definitely going to want to listen to that. That's going to be a fire episode. We're also going to have the Madden ratings episode coming up soon. And you know what? I think that'll be it for today. What you think, JT?
Yep. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. So I'm Daddy Fino. He's JT Flash. We out of here. Peace.
Peace.